man, look at this thing. All right, so hey, you guys, we have a treat for you guys today. I'm here with Tom. He's Overland Bound member 3385, and this is his Jeepster Commando. Tom, I'd like to hear a little bit about how this came to be, and you built it basically from the ground up. Why don't you tell us how long you've had the Jeepster and how this build came to exist?
I've had it about 20 years.
Uh-huh.
I started building it and to go on the Rubicon.
Yep.
I drove up there one time in my BMW, and they said I couldn't go any further.
Uh-huh.
I said, okay, I guess I need to get a different vehicle. So I started building this.
Right.
And with the help of several friends on ideas, I did all the work on it, but I learned from people that were already up there and built it. And it's still been a continual building process for the 20 years.
Right.
There's still stuff changing as things get worn out. And
yeah.
So
You mean you didn't cross the finish line and then you were just done?
No, I don't think there is a finish line.
There's been many chapters on the Rubicon. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that trail? And
kind of the area I learned to four-wheel in was the Rubicon.
Yeah.
And spent a lot of time up there with people that were very experienced to teach me and learn on it. And then I joined Search and Rescue, and quite a few of the people involved in that were involved in the Rubicon, and got me involved in Jeep USA for a short period, and then a few other times that I spent a lot of time up there. So
how long were you involved with Search and Rescue up in that area?
15 years.
15 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've probably seen all manner of circumstance up there.
Yeah, and Search and Rescue covered all of El Dorado County, so we were all over the whole county. And we had an OHV team that responded and did a lot of the road searches and trail searches that we were allowed to do on. About 40 miles an hour, flat ground in Black Rock Desert. I flipped this over 3 or 4 times.
Oh man.
Ended up crushing my arm and getting life flighted out of there. And a really good friend of mine and a couple of good friends picked up my Jeep, had it home before I got home. I was still in the hospital, and pushed me to keep building it so that I would go wheeling again after that, and had it back. I had the arm in a cast and was down here working on it.
If you had to count, do you know roughly how many times you've been on the Rubicon Trail?
I quit counting after probably 200.
So these are your stomping grounds. Really. They really are.
Yeah.
They
So
really
I prior to Search and Rescue, I was up there like every weekend.
Yeah.
After Search and Rescue, and I met some friends that we spent a lot of time up there doing that, and then I've been through it a lot of times.
Yeah.
Not quite as excited about going on it anymore now. I like to get out and explore. And so the purpose of the vehicle's changed a little bit to be more overlanding instead of rock crawling.
Got it.
So
a little bit more long distance, would you say?
Yeah.
You go a little longer distance now?
I've always had it set up. I'm not afraid to jump in it and drive 3,000 miles.
Tom, do you mind if I ask what you've done, what your life's occupation has been? And
most of my life I've worked in auto parts industry. Right now I work for a couple of inventors, and I build prototypes and help invent things.
Great.
So design and build things.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Still in the auto industry?
No.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, actually we build stuff for law enforcement, military, DOD kind of stuff.
Cool.
So I can't tell you what I built.
So what is this stock?
Stock was a 1971 Jeepster Commando. About the only thing that's stock on it now is part of the body. The rest of the stuff, the frame stock and the body, and the rest of the stuff's been changed.
So did you build the bumper? Is that something? So you fabricated the bumper?
Yeah, the bumpers.
Tell us what we got up here.
Both bumpers are fabricated out of box tubing, and they're the air tanks.
Okay.
For my compressor.
Oh.
So there's an air tank front and rear, and it's the bumper part in there. You can run air tools I've run die grinders, things like that, once in a while to do repairs.
How many gallons is the tank on the front and the back?
I have no idea.
It's about like this?
Yeah, it's about that long.
Like that? It's about like that much.
The back one's a little bit longer.
Right on, right on. And this bad boy right there. What do you got?
That's a Warren 8274. That's the fastest winch Warren makes. Got that when I was getting involved in search and rescue. When you're out with a group of people and a steel winch cable can be pretty deadly. It has a lot of kinetic energy, and a rope doesn't have any, and if it breaks, it drops. So we did that mainly for safety.
Maybe we should open it up and we'll look at the engine room. What do you think?
Okay.
All right.
So
okay.
One of the major changes is...
That's not a Jeep engine.
No, I went from a V6 to a V8, so a small block Chevy, and from carburation to fuel injection. Dual batteries. It's a ZZ4 short block with Edelbrock heads, manifold, and everything from the top end on it. Main reason to go, I went to dual batteries, is running radios. I'd go dead somewhere and wouldn't be able to start.
So did you have to cut it all up to get it in here?
No.
Really?
No.
That's amazing.
I trimmed the fenders a little bit to get access to spark plugs and things in there, but to get it to actually fit in here, I had to do some cutting on the radiator. It's a single belt system now instead of multiple belts on it. The differentials are vented, the transmission or the transfer case is vented up to here. Almost all the lights are LED. There's a large percentage of them are LED. There's still some HID lights. Those were HID, and there's about 8 HID lights on the rack up there.
Cool. All right. Anything else we should know under the hood?
Well, there's 2 onboard air systems. There's an electric one that's running a dual ARB in the back that is my main system, and for a backup, there's a mechanical compressor hooked to the engine.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that's the backup air system in case the other one quits. So my normal pressure on the trail is 10 in the front and 12 in the rear.
Cool.
And that takes out most of the bumps on a washboard road.
Yeah.
And not very fun on the street, but yeah.
A little bit squishy.
Yeah, it does take out a lot of the bumps and and make it more enjoyable on a Dana 44 in the front and a Dana 60 in the rear.
Why don't we walk around and take a look at the inside and show me what you got in there?
Okay.
All right, cool. Now, what do we got on the inside?
On the inside, we have all kinds of toys.
Okay.
Cell phone holder, GPS, controller for the fuel injection, so I can change things as I'm driving.
What's the thing you change most frequently on your fuel injection?
Lately, I haven't changed much. I've been working on the program for trying to get better fuel economy, and I've given up. 9 miles a gallon is about all I'm going to get.
9 miles a gallon, that's it.
So I've given up. I'm carrying more gas cans.
Right. More weight in gas.
Yeah.
It's miles per gallon.
Yeah.
What else we got in here?
2 ham radios. I run one that has APRS, which is automatic packet reporting, and that sends my location so people can track me. And the other one is just a quad band radio for communications in there. So I don't use it quite as much as I used to with the 2 radios in search and rescue. I wanted to know what was going on, you know, between all the different agencies and listen to what was going on when we were out searching. So we had all the radios going. Most of the time now I'm only running one at a time. So, but all the gauges have been changed to odometer gauges, a little better gauges than it was in here before. There's a display for the ARB refrigerator in the rear that tells me the temperature and voltage of the refrigerator, so I know that it's working.
So what do you find with your dual battery setup and your ARB going? How many days do you get up for that refrigerator?
I haven't tested this. I have a newer one in here. I tested my earlier ARB one, and on the Rubicon we lasted 3 days and still were able to start the vehicle.
Great.
With the ARB running. The newer one's supposed to be better, so I haven't really run a test on that one. You know, 3 days was pretty good without starting anything.
Right. And they've got a good shut off to protect your starting battery.
Yes.
Yeah.
The old one didn't.
And just run it dead.
Yeah, I'd run it dead. Yep. So the new one will shut it off before your battery's dead. I'm contemplating the DeLorme now, or I guess it's Garmin now that is bought by DeLorme.
Yeah, we like it. That's what we use.
You're using the Garmin? Yeah.
Yeah,
so
we have the InReach.
That's about all in the cab.
Right on. You got a fish whacker right there.
Flashlight.
Yep.
There's a couple of those in here. There's one there. There's one over there. You never can have enough flashlights.
Yep.
You know. So.
Cool.
And there's a lot of switches in here.
Yeah.
There's 2 rows up there and a row across the top up there.
Well, just run some of the things down. I mean, I know, so switches, they add up quickly, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
they're mostly lights.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's mostly lights. There's lights underneath the vehicle. When you're at rock crawling, a lot of times you need to see what's underneath there, and it's great if you have to fix something under there, you can turn lights on and everything works. There's lights, specifically when I put in for search and rescue, there's lights shining out the side to follow trails. There's lights on the sides up here. There's just lights all around for that. So most of those switches are lights. One is the compressor under the hood. I think other than that, it's all lights.
Now for the cage on the inside, is that something that you fabricated?
There was a guy that bent it for me, and then I welded it.
Got it.
So he pre-bent most of the stuff for me and sent it to me, and I had to make a few modifications to it and get it the way I wanted it. Seems like I can't leave anything alone. But added handles so that I could get in and out and to pull it in, because it is pretty high and it does get tiring getting in and out. Yeah. So the transfer case has 2 shift levers that allows you to independently control front and rear axles. So you can have 2-wheel drive low range, or you can have front wheel drive only. You can and high and low in front, high and low in the back. Wow. So you can independently control those. So I have a Chevy engine, a Ford transmission, and a Jeep transfer case. The transfer case is a Dana 300 out of a 80s Jeep. Wow. It's a Ford disc and a Chevy pressure plate.
Wow. And they work together.
Yes.
Right on.
Yeah, they've worked together for 20 years.
They love it. Apparently, they get along.
Yeah, they get along.
That's awesome. All right, let's wander around. We'll, I want to ask you about the rack and anything you've done up top, and then what you got on the back.
Okay.
That's good. So before we get into the business end here, tell me about your roof rack.
Well, the roof rack, I actually built it to fit the lights.
So there's lights everywhere.
Yeah, there's 10 HID lights on the roof rack, and I built the roof rack to fit the lights on there. And I kind of liked, this was kind of Confer, I think was one of the companies that came up with this kind of style. Yeah. And so I bought a tool just to dimple those out so that they
You bought a die tool?
Yeah, a die just to make those parts up there.
Wow.
So
that's an amazing rack. It's great.
And
you can stand up there?
Yes, it has a flat floor.
Uh-huh.
I didn't want any holes in it because I take my tripod up there all the time.
Got it. Yep.
And I set it up there and take pictures, and I didn't want any holes in the floor or anything like that. So it's just a flat floor, which also reflects the sun off the top and helps in the summer.
Yeah.
On there too. So
that's awesome. All right, let's take a look at the back.
The rear air tank is this bumper part down here.
And in terms of the numbers of gallons, it's about this much.
Yeah.
It's about like that.
It's about that. Yeah.
Cool.
It's a 3x4 box tubing with the ends on it.
Tom, since we're back here, tell us about your beadlock wheels.
These are Hutchinson wheels. They're called a Rock Monster. They have it's a bead lock on both sides, and it's a DOT approved.
One of the few?
It's the only one I know of that's DOT approved. It centers the wheel, so you don't have any vibrations. Drives really nice on the road.
And you have no issue removing the tire from the wheel itself by yourself.
Right.
Yeah, which is...
Yeah, that was the main reason I got them, is so that, doing a tire repair on the trail, I can do it myself. I can take them off. Running low pressure on a steel wheel or aluminum wheel, a lot of times the tire will spin and your balance will be off then because your weights aren't in the right place. So it's nice not to have to worry about that with this. I mean, the tires don't move at all. What I use for balancing right now is balancing beads. And they're just a little bead in the tire, so there's no weights on these wheels at all.
Okay.
And so far, 80 miles an hour on the freeway, it's smooth.
Interesting.
I haven't had any challenges with that at all. This is also a mount for the shovel and for the ham antennas. Because when the top comes off, one of the ham antennas to stay with the vehicle.
Yep. All right, let's open this thing up.
So I built a drawer system and a mount for the refrigerator in here. So using a tool roll, I really like that.
Tell me about it, just little philosophy behind your tool roll. Well, I know everyone's is going to be different. Tell me a little bit about yours.
Mine, I ended up buying extra little bags because it didn't come with as many as I needed, and I just split things up, sockets, wrenches, pliers, screwdrivers, and weird stuff. And then long stuff that doesn't fit in those, fit in between here.
Did you reduce down to only what your vehicle needs, or do you have redundancy in other sockets for other types of vehicles as well?
I have some for other vehicles, but mostly for this one.
Yeah, so it's pared down for your vehicle.
This has one big drawer in it on this side. It locks halfway.
Okay.
I think I passed the halfway point, so if I'm on a hill, it doesn't slam in while I'm trying to get parts out.
Right.
So keep all my spare parts in there. I have my recovery gear mostly right here in the back.
That's really cool. So in the slide, what do you keep in here? Just in general?
Tools and parts.
Tools and parts.
Yep. Just to keep things running. That's basically all that's in there. Stuff to repair a tire, stuff to repair anything on the vehicle.
Yep.
Basic parts that I might need on the trail.
Cool.
There's a 600 watt true sine inverter for charging computers, phones, stuff like that I don't have 12 volt chargers for. So my girlfriend wanted to take her dog, and she says I have to take that out and make room for it. So that's what the blanket's for back there. Her dog rides right behind the seats there and rides with us on trips. Refrigerator, it'll lock halfway, or it'll come out all the way to there. It's pretty tall, and so I have a really cheap little step.
I have that step.
So that I can see in there.
Right.
That gives me access to see in there.
Yeah.
Because the tailgate's high. Carry a pretty extensive first aid kit, extra blankets, stuff that, anything that I could probably survive on my own for 2 or 3 days easy in the Jeep. But I carry spare U-joint bearings, hydraulic stuff for the brakes. I have lines. I have tied underneath the vehicle. I have steel lines and I can bend to fit where I want. I have all the flexible lines that are on here for braking system. I have spares. I have fluids for that. I have spare fuel pump, spare filters for the fuel. I think what else is in there? There's a lot of little parts in there. I have several rolls of rescue tape. And we actually repaired a brake line on the Rubicon once to get a guy out, and it held pressure on a brake line.
Did you get rescue tape, Corey?
Sure did.
Corey got rescue tape. She threw it at me and said, throw that in the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To make it that far
Yeah.
on a trip.
On a brake line. Yeah.
Yeah. A brake line, we just, as soon as we got out of the Rubicon, we took it to a parts store and got a line for it.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing this rig. This thing is amazing. This is really awesome. Now I know you have TWW Overland on Instagram at least, so
Yes.
folks can go and see, learn more about the rig, or if they have questions for you.
There's a website.
Yeah.
Same.
Great. So people can learn more about it. We just have a little window of opportunity to talk, and there's so much depth here. So it'd be great for people to be able to reach out to you. You've been on the Rubicon Trail so many times. I mean, and like we talked about, it's really your stomping grounds. You have any advice for folks who have never done it that might want to do it? Like, what would you say to folks that have just never done it before and they're like, I don't know, can my rig go? Or what are some things they should know?
Well, we took stock TJ Jeeps with 31-inch tires through there.
Yeah.
All the time. You don't need huge tires. You don't need a lot of stuff on there. You need patience.
Yeah.
And you need to learn to pick lines. I think that's more important than having a highly modified vehicle.
Right.
So my best advice would be, if you want to go on something like that, do a little research on times a year to go there. And try not to go on a big event. It'll be crowded and you'll sit in line for a long time to get anywhere.
So it won't be the trail slowing you down.
Yeah, it won't be the trail slowing you down. The more people you get out there, the slower you're going to go.
Yeah.
And take your time and enjoy it.
Great. Tom, thanks for sharing everything. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Kent, so we talked about rolling the Black Rock. Kent told us a story. No, you told us. Your Jeep took a drive by itself one day.
Yes.
What happened?
I was working on a Toyota, and I think it got mad and left. I had it parked outside here, running to charge the batteries.
Yeah.
And I was working on a FJ40 in my garage here, and the owner of the FJ40 was here with me, and I was around the corner in the garage where I couldn't see the Jeep, and he goes, "Your Jeep just left." and we heard a big crash, and I looked out here, and it went down my driveway, across it, hit a tree, flipped over on its side, and slid down to the bottom of the hill.
Got it.
Blew a fuse, and the brakes released, and it just took off.
That's a bad day.
Yeah, it wasn't a great day.